Welcome to our humble little office. This is Ronald Keith Andrews, and I am the owner of Inner Voice Enterprises. Now, before I get into this whole discussion and this whole topic I'm about to cover, which happens to be the state of the world and the problem that we're dealing with, I do desire to make it very clear. I don't have a book to sell. I don't have political connections that I am hoping to capitalize on or to impress people. I don't know big business people that are paying me to do this. This is being done because it needs to be done. This is a requirement. I've got memories, I've got information, I've got all kinds of data that I don't have a stitch of concrete proof that I can hand you. But I've got theories, and I know where you can go to find the information, and I've got a whole pile of different insights into what's going on. Now, you've got a choice. You can listen to the people with all the paperwork. You can talk to the people in government that are there to help you. You can talk to your pastors and your priests, and you can find out what they have to say. You can go and talk to the people with the PhDs. You can talk to the people that have been around the world and talked in front of hundreds of thousands of people all in all. And you can listen to what they say. Or you can sit down, or stand up if you prefer, and listen. But really listen to what I'm saying and ask yourself one question. Is this possible? If the answer is no, then by all means, turn a blind eye, turn a deaf ear, carry on with your life, and I'll paint the picture anyway for those of you that are willing to listen. And we will take a look at it, and if it helps one person, if this broadcast helps one person take care of themselves and help the people around them, then frankly, I did my job. Now, the other thing to look at before I get into it is two websites. One is my base website, which is earnath.com, EARNATH.com. You can also look at the secondary one that I've got, which is really where a lot of the backbone work is being done now, which is the Universal Portal of Peace.com. Now, what you will find when you look at these sites is I am a professional psychic. I was born with an extended set of senses. And I don't personally like the term psychic. What I am is I am extremely sensitive to energies that you may not recognize yourself, or you may. I am also a self-published author. I am also a working medium, an alien contactee, both abductee and contactee, I may add. Well, no, I will add. And as you can tell, I am not what you would call a professional speaker. I turn things around where I will stumble over my own words on occasion, but I am honest. And as I said to start with, I don't have a book to sell you. I don't have a pill that I can offer you to make things right. I have a whole pile of information that is required. Now, we've tried talking to the professionals, the people that have the paperwork, the government officials that are supposed to be protecting you, all to no avail. Well, mostly to no avail. So instead of going into a long rendition of this, here's what you're dealing with in a nutshell, and there will be forthcoming videos to explain the smaller concepts. The situation you're dealing with right this moment is civilization Bear in mind, my memories date back well over 26,000 years. I remember lifetimes upon lifetimes. And you can do with that what you will. But look in your record books. Take a look, do your own research, and look into the length of time civilizations on the whole last. You'll find that they last about 300 to 450 years. And the longer ones may make 500. Shorter ones, 100 or so. The reality is this. If we take the industrialized age, you go back to the late 1700s till now, we are already we're approaching 300 years. This world is in crisis. The situation is as follows. Governments are in disaster. The US government has apparently shut its doors. These are the people you're paying to protect you. The Canadian government is on the verge of a civil war between the Quebecois, or more to the point, the French-speaking Canadians. French and English are supposed to be the national languages. Yet, the French have a brilliant idea that they don't have to post English in their areas, but they insist that English post French in theirs. This is creating a massive problem. The French have been pushing for years to separate from Canada. They're on the verge of getting their wish because Canada's getting fed up with it, but nobody wants to tell you this. There is also the problem with the so-called First Nations. And there is going to be, if you people out there that are watching this don't smarten up, there is going to be a three-way civil war in Canada. I'm not here to say who is right, wrong, or indifferent, aside from if you're fighting against each other, if you're trying to say that because of some aspect of you that you're better than the next person, you're adding to the problem. China is on the verge of a civil war. North and South Korea, contrary to popular belief, are working their way towards unifying. South Africa is going to run into some complications because it too is having its upheavals. The churches are starting to fragment. Yes, the people that are telling you, they're spiritual leaders that are telling you to follow God, or more to the point, follow a variation on him, are starting to fragment. They're fighting amongst each other as to whose interpretation of the Bible is right, or what it means. That is causing a lot of spiritual separation. Now, we've got the people that are in the mainstream religions. You've got the people in the so-called new religions, the spiritual churches. They are nothing but another religion, and they fall in the same category. Virtually every religion tells you the same thing. Be nice to each other. So why are you people out there that are running the religious sector, fighting with each other, and having wars over it? You're going against everything. The politicians are clearly fighting amongst themselves. There is more in the way of degradation and criminal activity going on that is being brushed aside because of loopholes in the criminal system that are now faltering. In Ireland, the people are now charging the banks with fraud, both on criminal levels and on civil levels. Remember, the Bank of Ireland is their main bank, and it is tied to the global economy. This is going to have ricochet effect. It is going to have an added problem of triggering similar situations in other countries. So if you happen to be sitting in, for instance, Finland or Norway, we'll try English, Norway, or if you're in the United States or Canada or Switzerland, or how about we drop you into Barbados? It won't matter. This is the beginning of the end of the banking system if it is not straightened out now. And the reality is the world cannot afford for that to happen. You have the other little problem with the schools that are teaching the students to be stupid. And I do mean that quite deliberately. And if I offend you in my comments, then at least I got your attention. And I am certain I am going to get all kinds of flack because of the fact that I am speaking what I feel and what I've seen before and what I'm seeing now. This is my truth. I implore you, go out, do your own research. But when I talk about the schools teaching your kids to be stupid, I am talking about they no longer teach spelling properly. They no longer teach math in your head, claiming the computer is faster. They're wrong. The computer is just more educated. They are not teaching your kids how to socialize properly. And the parents out there are creating an even bigger problem by ignoring the laws that the parents have hired people. And remember, your government was hired. So your parents or yourselves have hired people, you call it elected, to lay out laws for the betterment of your community, and yet you're ignoring them. You are teaching your kids the laws don't matter. You have this neat idea in the legal system that says children are too young to know what they're doing until they're 18 or 19. And yet you have the audacity to give them learner's permits to drive a vehicle at 16. There is something wrong with your thinking here. If they're not wise enough to make a decision, why would you give them a 2,000-pound weapon? Laws are being passed that are absolutely retarded in the name of civil rights. Now, I came across one the other day where one of the states was turned around and it passed a law that blind people, visually impaired people, are now legally allowed to buy guns. Now, I'm hoping that is wrong information, but considering what I've seen of society, I fear it's not. If this world continues on this path, it is going to implode. Mother Nature is already getting fed up. The earthquakes, the tornadoes, the pollution that mankind is pumping into the atmosphere, the tectonic instability, the added windstorms and tornadoes, the tsunamis, they're all indicative of people spewing negative information, throwing angry thoughts and angry words at each other, fighting constantly. It's all having a negative effect. And what is going to happen? Possibly not this way, possibly not in yours. If you're a senior, not likely in your lifetime. If you're an adult, probably in your lifetime. If it's one of your kids, as in your 13-year-old and lower, it's almost certain, but your grandkids are going to have a disaster to deal with. Now, if you claim to love your children, or your parents, or your friends, or your dog for that matter, then it's time to get your head out of the sand and listen. Now, what I will tell you in the next number of videos is I will go into detail of what is being done, of what I see happening, and what can be done to correct it. This being said, thank you very much for your time. This is Ronald Keith Andrews, owner of Inner Voice Enterprises, and I do encourage you to watch for future videos where I will expound upon the different issues in detail that this world is facing, that we may turn them around and stop the problem before it gets worse. Thank you so much for your time. Take care of yourselves and each other. Until we talk again.